So, new discovery this week. When Ryan Walters and his people like Matt Langston want to cry fake news all the time, come to find out when it comes to porn in Oklahoma schools, they are the ones who are spreading the fake news. So there's absolutely all kinds of things we can talk about when it comes to Superintendent Ryan Walters and the clown show, the whole circus act that he's got going on. There's all kinds of stuff going on with chaos at the meetings, not having enough seats for people to address their government or anything else, and Matt Langston being out there every other day on Twitter crying about some cowardly act. So here we go. This comes out. There has been a Freedom of Information request done because now for a while Ryan Walters has been out giving pressers, especially one in March, saying about all this porn that is in our Oklahoma schools. Golly, there's so much porn in our schools. Porn is everywhere. I'm getting calls every week about all this porn in our classrooms, in our libraries at our schools here in Oklahoma. Well, come to find out, he's full of crap. There isn't really. That's not the case. So News Channel 4 did an investigative report on this, and they wanted to find out, hey, you're talking around going, all these schools have this porn, who are these schools and whatever else. So News 4 got a hold of the spokesperson there named Justin Holcomb. Justin Holcomb. Well, Justin says, hey, this fake news media stuff, if you just do your research, you would be able to find it. There's all kinds of stories out there, and gave him a link to a story which had nothing to do with banned books in Oklahoma schools. So News 4 it called back, hey man, this doesn't have anything to do with that. Well, you're the fake news media. Well, no, really, we want to look into this. I mean, if these schools and everything else, and so what does Justin say? He goes, well, we don't want to do that and run these schools through the mud again. It's already been handled. But there's something wrong with that. Nothing of the kind has ever been done. Nothing had been handled. So they went online and did a Freedom of Information's request. And what they got back was there were 5 school districts, not schools, but districts Ryan had mentioned as having porn in schools. One of them was Oklahoma City. They got a hold of Oklahoma City. What did Oklahoma City say? Well, they said, we've never heard of any of this. We've never been formally complained against or anything. We have nothing. The Secretary of Education, Superintendent of Education, nobody has gotten a hold of us saying that there's porn in Oklahoma City schools. It's not true. Stillwater, another school district, they called them up and asked them, hey, did you guys know that your district is on a list of schools that are handing out porn? They said that's absolutely false. We're not. We've never had a complaint. We've never been charged or anything through the Oklahoma Department of Education whatsoever. This is a false story. This is fake news presented by Superintendent Walters and his group of cronies. That's what this is. That's what it is. That's all it is. So going through the schools, they say, hey, this didn't happen. And then they do this Freedom of Information request, comes back, and on the list there are 0 books. 0 banned books. So when they even ask for a list of, hey, well, we want to know what a list of banned books are, so we won't put them in our schools, the Oklahoma Department of Education doesn't have one. So this is an interesting thing, because when it comes to what Justin Holcomb said, he said, we're not going to do this Freedom of Information request for you, News 4, because, it's just a waste of taxpayer money and time to try to put this list together for you, and it's something that's already been done. Typical news media. Well, come to find out, that list, they did. They got it. 130 days later, they got the list. Nothing on it. So, Justin Holcomb, you're a coward. You're an absolute liar. There's nothing on the list. It would take you 0 effort to get it together for News 4 so they could present a story that there's nothing on the list. But that's the problem, right? The problem is there's nothing on the list. So this makes Ryan Walters and his team look like total schmoes. They look like total liars, dishonest people spreading fake news and doing it in a chicken little way. Oh my God, there's porn all over these schools. So when it comes down to confronting Ryan Walters on this, what does he say? He goes, well, one porn book in one school is enough for anybody. We should be up in arms over just one. But see, that's not what Ryan Walters did. Ryan Walters was talking about how he was getting all these phone calls all week long about porn in our schools. That he had all these schools everywhere with porn everywhere. There's porn in everything. Everywhere is porn. It's not true. None of it is true. It's all false. It's all fake news that comes straight from the Department of Education. None of it. There's none of it there. Justin Holcomb is a liar. Matt Langston is a liar. Ryan Walters is a liar. And they're doing this all, putting all this funding, doing all this stuff, doing this whole circus. Nothing short of political posturing. They're putting our kids' education, making it last in the union because they worry about their own politics and their own political careers. See, that's what this is about. It's about Ryan Walters' future political career. Now, he's probably already blown it as governor, but he's got eyes on a bigger destination, possibly the U.S. Department of Education under DeSantis or President Trump, whichever flavor he wants to follow, I guess. So that's what we have, and why they want to go around saying that there's porn in all these schools of the Big Chicken Little Act. Because, see, this raises awareness of people. Oh my God, there's porn everywhere? So it catches your attention, right? That's what they want to do. And then they want these people that are their supporters or would-be supporters to get scared enough to send them, being Ryan Walters and his crew, support and campaign cash so they can further along their political goals and political careers. That's why they do it. It's not about our schools. It's not about our kids. It's about their political careers. Is exactly what this is. Even Dr. Gist came out on Monday and said, hey, you know, this is all political posturing. That's why they're coming after us. It's always something else with Secretary Ryan Walters, Superintendent Ryan Walters, and why they want to come after Tulsa Public Schools. There's always something there. And it's always some made up mountain out of a molehill or just, you know, mud pie out of nothing in this case. That's what we got with the porn in schools. It's not happening. There is zero happening. As a matter of fact, there are 0 books on a list that they have that would be porn that needs to be taken out of school. They don't even have one. There's no leadership there. You see, they're all worried about their next political post so they could care about the leadership of running the schools in Oklahoma. That's why we're currently 50th. We went from 47th to 50th in 2 years. We are dead last in the nation when it comes to education, thanks to yahoos like Ryan Walters. That's where we're at. That's why we have what we have. You see, because what he wants to do is he wants to give the public school system over to his private school buddies that pay for everything he has. Gives him his cushy bank account and everything else. You know, the kids coalition thing he had that he's not president of anymore kind of thing. So there you go, those people that are involved. So that's what this is about. It's about getting all that taxpayer money, which is a lot. Our school budget for Oklahoma is nearly half the budget. That's the biggest item. There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of money there that unscrupulous players would like to get their hands on. You know, like the former guys of Epic that are doing time over their schemes. And Epic is weird. You see, they're still in business. They just have a new board. Yeah. But the crazy thing about Epic is, you know, I know people, their kids, they're so happy with it because, you know, their kids are getting school credit for stuff they're not showing up for. Look, I don't even have to show it for it. I'm getting credit. Well, yeah, so Epic can charge the money for it. They don't care if you show up. They only care if we can count you as a body so we can send that to the state and get more money. That's what they care about. That's what this is all about. That's what it's all about. It's about the money and the power and the control. And that's why we see the State Department of Education and Superintendent Ryan Walters, Justin Holcomb come out talking about all this porn in schools and it's out there. There's reports about it. But you'll never sign it on a list. You'll never see any kind of formal complaint about porn in any schools. You won't find it because it doesn't exist. So this is exactly a problem that has never happened, never taken place. None of this has happened. 0. And the funny thing about all this is some of his stuff, like going after Bixby, for instance. Bixby, they had porn in schools. They had porn in schools. Well, the interesting thing, Bixby found a book on their list that was inappropriate and took it off. They took it off before it ever hit the shelves. And the interesting thing about this is a timeline skew that Ryan Walters and other conservatives like to use, because that's what it is. Because this book was 2 years before he took office. This was 2 years before he took office, 2019. This happened. And it was taken care of. It was taken care of through the proper way before any kids got a hold of the book. But something Ryan Walters has to use, right? And he has to skew it in a way so that his people that would support him don't understand it. They don't understand the timeline in it. So there you go. That's why you have this. That's exactly why we have. There's so much porn in these schools. But there's not. It's complete fake news from the Department of Education here in Oklahoma. It absolutely is. And the other things are the things that some of our representatives have said in all of this. Like, we have two. One's a Democrat Representative Rosecrans and the Republican Representative McBride. And they both have said the same thing. Now, Rosecrans was a teacher, and he understands the education system. And his quote was pretty much, "We've been lied to. After I see all this, after I've seen the K4's report, after I see that there's no list and that they have actually nothing, any kind of formal complaints or formal write-ups or anything," he said, "We've been lied to. The State Department of Education is lying to us." McBride said, on this report, when it comes to porn in schools, we're being misled. Same thing as being lied to. We're being misled. There's nothing there. They're saying it is, but there's no proof. They can't bring the proof. They have no proof. And this is why it takes them 130 days to fulfill a Freedom of Information request with nothing on it. Why do you think it took them 130 days? And Justin Holcomb saying, "Oh, it's just a waste of taxpayer time and money to get you a list together with nothing on it." Because they don't want to expose that, see? Because they're lying to you. They're lying to all of us about porn being just so rampant in schools. It isn't. There's a total system in place. Has been for decades on appropriate books for kids. This is about Ryan Walters' political career. It's about going after those people he doesn't like. It's about going after small groups like trans and gay people because they're small groups. They're easy to pick on. They don't have a lot of coalitions and stuff. It's easy for him to pick on them. And that's why he does it. That's why they're doing all of this. It's not about so much porn in schools as it is power and control and furthering political careers and gaining money. That's what this is all about. That's why we have this report coming out by K4 saying, hey, you know what? This is a nothing. There's nothing here. A big zero. It's a big Chicken Little act of nothingness. There's nothing there. That's why they want to be so quick to say, oh, this is just nothing. We don't want to rehash this and harm these schools that didn't do anything or haven't even been formally reprimanded or even noticed. Like Stillwater. What are you talking about? Oklahoma City, huh? Never happened. Absolutely not. That's what you get. This is where we are today in Oklahoma and why we are 50th in the nation when it comes to education. Thank you, Ryan Walters, Matt Langston, and cowards like Justin Holcomb. Well, this is Across the Desk, and we're going to see you guys next week.